Thanks for coming, everyone. I'm not going to read from any of my books tonight. I'm going to read poems from an unpublished chapbook called Speaks the Dark Lobe that I have been sending out for about a year and a half, and it's been a finalist, I think, 5 times now at different places, and it's not there yet. So I decided it has to be weirder, it has to be longer, and there has to be art in it. So I'm just gonna explode it out. All you really need to know is that, like the majority of my poems, these are set in the desert, and these are specifically set in Landers, which, you know, you don't know where that is unless you're my friend, probably, and you've been out here. But people say that Joshua Tree is like the moon, but that's not true. Landers is the moon, and we had a 7.5 earthquake there when I was growing up. We were also home invaded, and the house was very close to the landfill. And it's just desert, it's flat, no Joshua trees, just blowing wind. And our one neighbor wanted to kill us, so I was home alone a lot. Okay, there we go. It sort of starts out in more of a child's perspective, and then grows. Wonder. If you're going to be a bird of prey and choose our soft shale as a place to keel, the man of the house will cut off your feet. If a poisonous snake, then your head will meet the shovel's edge. In that shed where the dog sleeps are honeyed cans of shellac. You can almost feel wind loosening its jaw before the drop. See? Wonder can feel glamorous, even out here. Wonder at moonset in a rose-colored slip. Oh, wonder what will drop down. The woman of the house can't get a damn thing to grow. Lily bulbs are burned out 40 watts. She buries in radon sand. Despite wiggly isotopes, we still think filaments will do as crickets, rub together. But instead of chirping or light, a green shoot. The things we want to arrive hardly ever do. Yes, it used to be a landing strip for private planes, that road I walk. Sometimes it is a 2-seater, comes rattling our windows, bones, shelves of glass uranium. Oh, wonder. I don't trust you much. I don't like your kind hanging a red haze around here whole October long. The shapes you take. Hatchet man, bark scorpion, carpet moth, the boys who bite my nipples. What I would give to have only one door, the shape of me. One door, 3 locks. Thank you. How to deal with your first death. Find the only climbable tree on your property. Recall the book of the greedy boy who took from the tree until she was naked, stumped, alive without a head. Decide to undo the narrative, gift by gift. Someone has told you that anything which gives is female. Anything pillaged too. That gutted cabin had at least a stove, its mouth slack, tongue raisined with rat turds, a wooden-handled pot on the back burner. That was just yesterday, and tomorrow a slab. From the tallest branch, you can see your one neighbor raking pig shit from the wire pen, his splitting maul half buried in dirt. Wonder how many times any of us will walk this rutted road. Now focus. See these holes? The sapsucker is spreading his skull-rattling news 1,000 strikes per word. Hang crushed beer cans in her branches. Try to finish the sentence. Woman, before you were a tree, swaying canlight in the evening will remind you of a sudden scent of blood. Wince. Girl seismologist, and this is in 4 short parts. Girl seismologist. You might think this is a town post-disaster, that the clapboard shacks are a sign of lives on the mend. These piles of cabin doors and mattresses, these burning curtains cold from the fields after some blue-tongued flash. You want to believe there was one definitive bomb, the mother of all these little travesties. But the brightest light casts the darkest shadow, and we've been living in her ever since. It's true, this town was laid down on a fault line, a kind of sacrifice to a monster I've never met. All these little shocks before and after, and some living happens in between. Take glass swans down from shelves, grandma's urn, lean mirrors against walls, sniff the air for gas, off to school, duck and cover. When I was small, there was a small quake. The radio man said, no one was hurt. But who are any of us to say what does and does not hurt another? Just the way we cannot say that being born is not a kind of pain that some of us relive when dressed in clothes we've outgrown, when lying beneath another, when staring down the long neck of a train. As I grew, so did the magnitude. Then there was the earthquake, the one that put us on the map. T-shirts with puffy white letters were made and sold roadside. It was Lander's fault, 7.5. But the town looked the same after it happened as it did before. A small child was killed by the red bricks of a fireplace, and people said, oh Lord, oh, what a blessing there weren't more. Through the dirty windows of the school bus, see Jimmy and his sister walk out of the wreckage of a double wide that fell 3 feet down. See how everywhere they go, they are falling. Thank you. Okay. I'm actually just going to read one more poem, and it's longer. It's in sections, so that's why I'm just going to read one more. And it's the title poem, Speaks the Dark Lobe. And so now at this point in the book, the speaker is older, still living in the desert, isolated, but looking back a little bit. Speaks the Dark Lobe. The dog is no use now that he's dead. And here I am, without porch light, without moonlight. Lightless, a kind of diagnosis. The trees speak heavy with night birds. In the 8th circle, Dante mistook towers for giants and secretly bit down on his tongue. What budded nerve nestles between pleasure and her wrestling mate? Understand, this is light's emptied lung. Alive, the dog would lean on me. I spritzed scales, spines, gave sips to the cottonwood. I gave with the urgency of, if they live, they live. Some days I want to seem nice, not even kind. As for all the other days, I am alone. sky veiled. In the dark lobe of the ancient paradox, white datura opens to the stars. Oh, what I would give to be leaned on by anything. Once I was fired from a job for being scary, though they couldn't provide examples. I scared generally without particulars. Some spaces just have that feeling, a draftiness, a tint like a tea stain or whatever the antonym for afterglow might be. I met a poet who said that being under a sky bright with stars makes her feel afraid. Too near, too right on top. Low ceiling, abloom with spears. When I come home at night, it's always by myself. The stars, eyeless, freezing and on fire. They attack, arrow my bare legs, make of me a celestial pincushion. I can't say I don't enjoy it. It's true. I have to introduce myself to darkness every night, for it forgets me entirely by the overture of day. Sometimes an agate disappoints, its core a continuation of its utter rockness, or the lovebird's egg void, but for a springtide shawl of albumin. Someday I will be in love, unmarried, whore, living my last fertile year behind a curtain of redwoods, cold rain. I will bake loaves by the dozens, not eat them, place the loaves in an east-facing window, hungry for the smell of yeast. I will want a baby. I will scare myself into not believing the matrix will stay open, leave a light. Remember that sitting in the car can be a kind of hug. Last section. Climbing into cold sheets, pulling quilts to chin, rummage through what disappoints most. Remember, agate, egg, lost job, dead dog, wrecked womb. Croon. The trees do speak, but not to us. If I forget myself, let there be a scene of recognition. Let me tuck myself in and have the feeling I'm doing it just right. Thank you so much.